3,590.
You know where the material control is?
1,48.
Material control. You know where the material control is?
5. 786.
3,700.
Drei, 1,1.
3,765.
Moi ça fait 4 debout.
2,22.
Den Wettkampf habe ich jetzt schon mal gewonnen.
Schnell Vorteil.
Ja.
meeting. Then started.
Haben wir sie nicht gesehen hier zum Start im Stadion, aber jetzt die Beffos stehen schon bereit dahinter und da kommen sie. Die 30 besten. Dominator von Rupolding, Johannes Bö, Sieger im Einzelwettbewerb und Sieger mit der norwegischen Staffel. Er hat sich nach Hause gelaufen, ist natürlich auch heute der Favorit. Aber Kamera ist auf Hollenackerei. Und das ist aber super nach seiner Runde in der Staffel. Hier ist der Weltbeste aktuell.
The first three in the start from Norway. Johannes Bö, Ulla Hollenackerei, and Bertes Christensen. All three of them were in a relay race together with IBU.
Und hier ist das rote Trikot. Es hat bisher einen Massenstart gegeben für Proporno und den hat Johannes Darling gewonnen. Er kommt nicht auf der norwegischen Staffel dran. Das ist ja Wahnsinn. Christiansen, der war dabei. Und da haben wir jetzt Benny Boll. Der Benny Boll ist da, der ist super. So, und jetzt läuft der Countdown.
So welcome to Rupolding. You are just in time for an explosion of sound in the Schemgau Arena. The final men's race of this week, and the countdown has started. Away they go. Johannes Tingesbø on the right of the tracks as they head out of the stadium. An advantage to him slightly as the first corner is to the right. And it will take some 200, 300 metres before they settle down to an easy pace. That's quite a dynamic start, Mike.
It's a very dynamic start, and Johannes Tingesbø on the left, I think he has to, with his much faster skiing than anyone else 2 days ago, and in the relay, of course, I think he's going to dictate this. I think he's going to press it really hard from the get-go.
Well, the others can follow him, and they find that a whole lot easier than matching him when it's a time trial event. So it'll be interesting to see if he can actually get away. Will he push the others past their comfort zone? We will find out over the next 3 kilometres. It's going to take 7 minutes or so to complete the first lap. Number 3 there, of course, is Vetle Sjåstad Christiansen. He's been so consistent this year. He had a great relay 2 days ago, and so maybe he fancies his chances.
Yes, he has. He's had a couple of bad days. Pokljuka last weekend, Christiansen. It was a big surprise for him to miss 3 out of 5 in the sprint race, finishing 13th. He put it right the next day, so he has, we'll say, one bad day in 5 or 6 races.
Lygrid nicely positioned. What have we got? 6 Norwegians, 5 Norwegians certainly in that first group of 7. The odd man out, wearing number 4, Canton Fion Maillet, coming back to form, sitting in 3rd place at the moment. Johannes Tingesbø, of course, the Olympic champion. Lygrid wearing 2 is the world champion. And then Christiansen 3, Fion Maillet is 4. Benny Doll wearing 5, 6th in the individual at the start of this week. That was a good run from Benny.
Yes, I thought that was disciplined. He's not renowned really for the individual race where there's 1 minute penalty for each shot missed. He did so well, I thought, hitting 19 out of 20. So that will give Benny Doll a lot of confidence today that recently he's able to hit 19. He'll want 20 today to win. These aerial shots, Patrick, you mentioned the green grass. It's tough, 9 degrees, but the organising committee to put this amount of effort in to create this much snow. Yes, it's been stored in ice halls, ice stadiums, but it's huge amount of effort to bring it out here and lay it on the asphalt, the tarmac of the roller ski tracks below.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of effort. It's a huge amount of money, and that is why some are questioning whether winter sport has a future. And of course, that is why the Norwegians are so concerned that nothing is being done about the environmental change. Interesting to see, Mike, that Oslo, over the last 10 years, gets 30 days less snow than it used to. That's significant. They count every single day. Even if you go up north around the Trondheim area, they're getting between 11 and 17 days less.
It's quite incredible, and then you look up to Aviemore in Scotland. Well, already there's been somewhat, I think, I haven't been there all the time, but I think 17 to 20 days of skiable, cross-country that is, and on the hill it's pretty good right now. So it's a good year in Scotland, not so much in the rest of Central Europe.
Absolutely. Now the pace picks up, and Johannes Tingesbø really a sudden injection of speed, and instead of a group of athletes, we have a string of athletes working their way round. Giacomel there for Italy, alongside is that Sebastiansen or Ponsaloma? I think it may be Samuel Sebastian.
This pace is absolutely, for a 15-kilometre, and what, we're only somewhat 4 minutes in, this is a really painful pace for those who are really now working over their comfort zone, and most of them are, except the two at the front.
Yeah, well, Christiansen, I suspect he's pushing the pulse rates in the high 100s, maybe close, maybe even over the 200 mark at the moment, as he tries to stay with Johannes Tingesbø. Lygrid letting them go. He's a smart athlete, Lygrid, and maybe, Mike, this is why Johannes Tinges doesn't always win the mass starts, because he has to race slightly differently.
Oh, look at him, look at his facial expressions. This really is hurting Johannes Tingesbø as well. He's living with it.
Now he gets to see what damage he's done, and that is a significant margin. But remember, one miss, and that's a penalty loop of 150 metres. So you've got to do an incredible amount of work to make up that 150, and I'm not sure that's going to happen before they come in for the first shoot.
Do you know, there'll be a lot of turmoil in the minds of the big names, all those 15, 20 athletes closest to Johannes Tingesbø and Christiansen. They're thinking, should I try? Should I push harder? But I think they're on their limit. They're trying to contain this, but they can't.
So a 7-second gap between the first two and the rest of the field. Still nowhere near the 25 seconds that it's going to take to pay a penalty loop should they miss. And this first shoot is going to be fascinating, Mike, because normally Johannes Tinges is a bit more patient than this. He will go on the second loop once things have been strung out a little.
Yes, and Johannes Tingesbø will take longer than most to build that real comfort position that he has this season, the discipline to do that. So he's buying himself those extra 3 or 4 seconds to build his position.
Yeah, credit to Christiansen, though. You know, his reputation's been built on his shooting, not on his ability to ski at the same speed as Johannes Tingesbø.
Yes, fearless. And these conditions must be quite similar to the Annecy conditions, where Johannes was slipping and sliding around, but today he's anchored to the track.
Well, what a scene with the stands packed and the last 300-400 metres of track 4-5 deep in spectators. Yes, those are the cheap seats, but they are the athletes that get close. They're the spectators that get closest to the athletes, and this is where the difference comes in Rupollding. Really looking forward to seeing what we get in Antolz next week. So here we go, first shoot, and you can see the margin between the first two. The 7-second gap has come down a little. The two leaders just easing off before they come in. 50 metres, prone position. Unlike the relay, they just have 5 rounds to hit the 5 targets. A miss, as many of you will know, incurs a 150-metre penalty loop. And a miss from Christiansen early on and from Johannes Tingesbø. Perhaps it wasn't such a good idea after all.
Both of them missing. There's Philip Fjeld Andersen missing his first as well.
Giacomel misses 3. Fillon-Maillet is 4 out of 4. Is he going 5 out of 5? He is. The French are going to the top of the order. 2 from Philip Fjeld Andersen. That is a bad performance for the first shoot, but not as bad as Johannes Dahle. He's only hit 2 of the 5, and he's got 450 extra metres to ski. All change at the front of the men's mass start. I'm afraid to say the writing was on the wall.
That's incredible, isn't it? It's a busy track. Well, Johannes Tingesbo and Christensen, that's not so bad. They're still well in touch with the lead.
Well, they did a bit of damage, but they damaged themselves in the process, Mike. And in fact, they've done, you know, the Canton Firmaillet, they've done him a favour.
They really have, and he didn't. He tried to go with the pace, then he backed off quickly. And Ligrid as well, he's missed. So going over his comfort zone, he's come in uncomfortably. And it really has stirred up the field, that incredible first lap pace.
Jacquemel comes out having missed 2. Yeah, that was the one instance we did need a picture of Ziggy Mazet just to see how the Norwegian coach was reacting to all those misses. The high left for Johannes Tingis, high right, low right, back into the centre, and the last one, didn't see it, must have been so low that it wasn't on the screen. Well, extraordinary first shoot. So let's just run down the order. Firmaillet, Cloud and Tariabo, the top 3, all going clear. And in fact, the top 13 athletes all shooting the perfect score. Samuelsson got through, Nellin of Sweden, Stulder of Switzerland. Johannes Kern went clear for Germany. He got a big cheer. So did Strello of Germany, and David Zerbel of Germany has come out in 12th position. So a group of 13 athletes. I suspect to see the yellow bib bringing the rest up towards them. But Johannes Tingesbo, Mike, 12.7 behind.
Yes, he'll make some of that back. Very impressed with a lot of the shooting, and most impressed with Simon Eder, the most experienced. He's been here, 18, 19 seasons in World Cup racing. He was detached by 20 seconds on that first lap of 3 kilometres. He's hit 5, and he goes out 11 seconds behind the best. So he didn't even try to go with that crazy burst of pace. He knew it would not set himself up well for the rest of this 15-kilometre race.
Yeah. And the yellow bib is already up with what is now the second group. We've got two Frenchmen out front. We've got Tariabo is up with the leaders as well, but the French having a good day. They've got 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. 24 is Lapshim of Korea, Russia.
Just looking at shooting scores, only 14 athletes out of the best 30 in the world, 25 and those on form. Only 14 hit 5 out of 5, so it really was a burning pace. Normally we get 15 to 17 going clear first time.
Yeah, and Dale, who we mentioned, and Roman Rees, who we didn't mention, both missing 3. They find themselves over a minute adrift, out of the race at the moment. But there's no knowing what's going to happen at the front. Now, Mike, with the French leading, do you think we're going to see similar sort of mistakes?
They're going to pace it, aren't they? And you know, it's comfort there when you know the people skiing around you. You've got some kind of a building of confidence. But there again, we've got the Norwegians working in a little chase pack as well, and very much coming forward to, I think, reach the French by the time they come to the second shoot.
Yeah, the 2 Burr brothers in 5 and 6 at the moment, just tucking in behind Lapshin there, who's in 5, wearing the red, almost looks like the Austrian colours, to be honest, in the red and white. Will they try and make a move? Looks like Johannes Tingis is just easing things up at the moment.
And maybe... Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking Jacquelin back in the races today. Yes, he went on his own to train in Italy after his 64th position, the first race in Pokljuka. They didn't involve him again in Pokljuka, so he's back and he looks much sharper today. There's Johannes coming to the front.
Yeah, and a move also from Christiansen, who was another athlete who missed on that first shoot. He's got himself back up into the top 3. Ponsaloma of Sweden, 15 behind, having come out of the range 25. So he's gained. The pace has been a whole lot slower than the first lap, and the French just biding their time.
That was a look around there from Firmaillet, yep, and he's got company. He's got the big man in yellow beside him.
29, Johannes Kern at the back of that lead group.
It's difficult to pull back, Patrick, a whole penalty loop. You've been round the penalty loop, and already Johannes Tingesbo has contained that deficit, that one shot missed.
but we've seen that many, many times before, Mike. Once, twice maybe, but by the time it gets to the third time of doing that, you're spent. And should you be with the leaders coming out of the last shoot, you very, very seldom win.
Oh, this is a tough pace. It really is hurting many. Lapshin staying with it. Lapshin actually from stop to start in the range, the fastest by a huge margin, 19.5 seconds. That's crazy fast shooting. Hartvig, I still believe in Hartvig, but he's in a world of pain now. Well detached, missing one first time in. And I think...
Sorry, I was going to say he's got back to 22 seconds. Hartvig came out in 19, so he's actually falling off the pace being set by the French, whereas everyone else is gaining on the leaders.
And Johannes Tingesbo very keen to get their lane in which he zeroed on. That was lane 1. So I think he'll be restless and work his way to the front to make sure he gets lane 1. There, he's at the front now.
It's incredible. Yeah. Whether it's sensible is debatable, but he came out of the range in 15th. He's back up into the lead, just making a statement. And we saw Roysland with a similar sort of move yesterday, Mike, in the women's relay, and it really paid off.
And look what Johannes has done now. He's the big daddy at the front, and he's saying, OK, I'm slowing this down. I need to recover. And I think he'll build, again, quite a slow position and try to be a little more disciplined through that first shot.
The Germans have got Kern, Strello, Zerbel, all in that leading group. Benny Doll's not far behind. He's 11 seconds off Johannes Tingesbo at the moment. But Burt in lane 1. We've got Cloud in 2, Filmayer 3, Jacquelin 4, Christensen 5. Look for the red flashes of the miss. Taking much longer before the first shot. An early miss for Lapshin, having shot so fast and clear earlier on. A mistake from Filmayer. This time, no mistake from Johannes Tingesbo. He comes in first. He's going to be out amongst the top 3. Fabian Cloud, good shooting. Christensen clears 5. Tarja Bö clears 5. It's like that first shoot was a wake-up call. Sort yourselves out, because Lygrid has gone 5 with 5 as well.
Ah, that's amazing. Jacquelin, that was so slow. Jacquelin came in with the lead section of the race. He's missed one, and he's taken forever to get those 5 shots away.
Well, this is going to be fascinating to see what happens now. Filmayer at 20 seconds. If Johannes Tingesbo turns the turbos on again, that could be closer to 30 by the time they come in for the first of the standing shoots. But we'll have to see whether he feels a sensible pace is the sensible option. What's your prediction?
Oh, I think he's going to go out into this third lap and again push hard. He knows that he's hurting, but he's aware that the rest are suffering more than he is, and he's going to have to try and break them even more.
Christensen clear as well. One mistake from Filmayer. So again, a quick shoot from Lapshin, not the quickest this time, Mike, but 24 seconds. Just looking at Johannes Tingesbo, he was at 26.2, so a much more conservative shoot.
Yes, and I think that was sensible, and I loved he really fought hard to get from what position, 13, 14, whatever it was when he left, to come all the way to the front. He's not opening up into full pace yet, but I think he will. He's just trying to get some feeling again through his legs. And Claude there just trying to live with them.
Yeah, Claude skiing very well indeed. I think when it comes to the 2 climbs, that is where Johannes Tinges is going to keep the pressure on. Back in 3rd position, Vetle Sjostad Christensen, who stayed with Johannes Tingesbo over the first lap. And Christensen is one of the 10 athletes to have won a Mass Start World Cup. In the last World Cups, remember, 10 different winners from 10 different World Cups. That's an extraordinary stat.
Oh, and that's why this race is so exciting. It's got that little bit of unpredictability, and even the big names. Well, that's interesting. Johannes was just having a look who's around him. He's now suffering, so he's backing his pace off. I think he'll explode away soon. He's keen for Claude to move forward, but no one helping him. Yeah, and in this situation, we've said it many times before, the leader is working harder than the rest, particularly on the flats, on the gradual uphills as well. It doesn't really matter when it's really steep.
but everyone's feeding off them. Everyone's getting a little bit of shelter from the leader. So Bø ahead of Fabian Cloud, and then we've got Christiansen of Norway in third place. Just waiting for the next split to come up. This is lap 3 of 5, remember, 2 shoots remaining, both in the standing position.
Do you know, the pace from the gun has been so on full attack until now that only 7 athletes from the top 30 have hit 10 out of 10. Normally we'd expect 11 to 14 still surviving on 0-0. I think that's good strategy from Johannes Tingesbø. He's clearly hurting, and he's changing his plans again and again. I wonder with skis, we'll get an idea. Are those skis gliding? It looked like they're gliding the same as Christiansen on the first lap.
Do you think he'll fight for lane 1 when it comes to that stage?
That's interesting. It's not so important in the stand because he wants to get the same elbow placement as he had in his zeroing for the pro, and that's over now. So maybe he'll just want to hide in the background and in third place in.
Well, you can see the margin behind. It is about 90 metres. So if any of these miss in the front and anyone in that back group, which surely they will, go clear, then the lead could change yet again. And Christiansen is the man who leads up the climb. Big burst of speed coming in from Sturlaholm Lygrid, wearing 2 on the right-hand side of your picture at the moment. And he has taken Samuelsson with him. Samuelsson, the best of the Swedes at the moment.
That was a real turn of pace from Lygrid, so he's fully aware that it's now or never. I've got to try and close some of these 15 seconds down, put the lead athletes under some more pressure.
Yeah, Phil Maillet going through, just looking for his split time. Mike, I missed that. He came out of the range 20 seconds behind. Interested to see how hard he's worked.
Well, actually, he's dropped nearly 5. He's 24.9 behind now.
Yep.
So he's suffering. That early pace is going to really hurt many of these athletes as the race progresses.
Giegner at 53 seconds. Yeah, he certainly needs a good finish. He's actually lost 5 seconds as well over this third lap so far.
Ponsiluoma, look at the pain, look at the hurt there. He's been on the penalty loop 3 times, and that's an extra 450 metres track time effectively.
Yeah, he's really struggling from 56 to 110. And Ponsiluoma is certainly an athlete I think needs a bit of rest before the World Championship. So it'll be interesting to see how hard he is raced in Antolz next week. Roysland, incidentally, not racing today in the women's mass start, just focusing on the World Championships. And Elvira Erberg also being pulled out.
Yeah, no, that's a real shame, and I think it's sensible for Roysland. She's been racing so well, but you know, she hasn't quite caught up with her form, and that will take some time. Is Johannes Tingesbø going to go in first? He probably will.
Well, certainly the tracks are good. They've been fast so far. There was some concern. There's been concern every day, but they've worked miracles here. The wind is, it's not huge, but it's stronger than it's been all week. But really, it's just changing. Some moments there's none, some there's a little breeze from the left, then from the right. So it needs good awareness as they come in for what is the penultimate shoot of this mass start. Johannes Tingesbø has been on lane 1 in every shoot so far. 4 out of 5 in the first prone, 5 out of 5 in the second prone. What will the first stand bring?
You just feel it's going to be fast from Johannes. He wants to break away.
So another mistake, and Christiansen with a chance, but he doesn't take it. Fabian Cloud throws one wide as well. Lygrid and Samuelsson with an opportunity now. They're certainly close enough. Simoneida has missed. Samuelsson's gone 3 out of 3. Tarja Bo's gone 4 out of 4. 5 out of 5. It's going to be another Bo in front, but it's Tarja, not Johannes Tingis. But Johannes Tingis already over halfway round the penalty loop, so he will not be much more than 7 or 8 seconds adrift of the new race leader. So there there we go. 22:14 on the clock. A winning time expected around the 36-minute mark. So they still have 14 minutes or so of racing to go. Samuelsson, very patient, sensible race from him, up into 2. Johannes Tingis, not 8 seconds behind, Mike. 0.8 of a second. Incredible.
Oh, I can't believe that. What a race. This is definitely the best race format in the calendar. So many changes. Johannes Tingis, I thought that was very clever. He pushed the pace coming in towards the range, more so than Claude and Christensen. And I think that gave him confidence to try and create another gain.
Fielmeyer has missed again. Significant in that Fielmeyer, of course, the World Cup winner last year. Very, very low with that miss.
Just a little bit rushed. The first two would have put the prone target down.
So it hasn't taken long, and Johannes Tingesbo out in front, but he still has a lot of company. 5 of them racing now out the front of the field. There's a gap of 8 seconds back to Jakob Fack, who's having another good run. 19 seconds back to Lygrid, who's missed twice today. Jacquelin missing twice, down at 27. Fielmeyer missing 3 times, 41 seconds behind. I think his chance may well have gone. Well, the Norwegians still there in numbers, Mike. Great to see Strelier of Lithuania. I've got on my sheet, top 5 if he shoots 0-0-0-0. And at the moment, he's having an absolute crack of a day.
He really is, and this is his favoured venue. Remember that 4th and 5th position last year? This is where he really came up to being noticed. And Lithuania, the spectators are now absolutely following him. And the way he's shooting, he could get another 5 out of 5, and I think he can challenge certainly for a podium.
Yeah, that would be a great occasion. So often he hits 19 or 20 in the mass start. It seems to be when he produces his best shooting. He's sitting comfortable at the back of this group. I think he'll be glad that it's Christensen leading and not Johannes Tingesbo. It's going to come down to that final shoot. Surely one of those front 5 is going to shoot the perfect score. Is it better to shoot fast, or is it better just to take your time and give yourself an opportunity? But so often, Mike, we see them change their tactics for the final shoot, and then it costs them.
It costs them dearly, and you go into a little panic. Johannes Tingesbo, I think he wanted someone to come ahead of him here, and Christensen was the bait. And I think he's going to explode up the big climb to try and get a 5-10 seconds advantage. Is he going to explode away, or try to? He knows the rest are hurting because he's hurting.
Yeah, that was interesting. They're all behaving like sheep. With Johannes Tingis has a good look over his left shoulder. So Christensen does it, Samuelsson does it, Tadebo does it. The only man who didn't follow suit was Strelier, who's at the back at the moment, just starting to ease off.
Jakob Fack, he's not out of the podiums at all. It was only 9 seconds behind, although he's detaching a little more now, and he's only missed 1 target. Simon Eder has also only missed 1 target, still top 10.
Yeah, 3 men still with a perfect shooting score. They're all in that leading group. Tadebo is one of them. Samuelsson in the yellow of Sweden is another. And Strelier with 15 out of 15 so far. Samuelsson, Mike, very seldom hits the last 5 in a mass start. That surely is playing on his mind.
It must be, but I think there he goes. There's Johannes, and this is a world of pain for Strelier at the back, just beginning to become detached. I thought this would happen, and Johannes will want to buy himself 7 to 10 seconds.
Yeah, that gives him an opportunity. If he does that and he shoots quickly, he could miss 1 and still come out within 5 seconds of the leaders. And if that's the case, and if he's still got something left in the tank, then he may maybe possibly challenge for the win again. But this is why he finds the mass start harder to win than any other discipline.
Strangely, Lygrid is really, remember that early pace? We thought Lygrid was struggling, and he attacked this hill last time. He's lost 10 seconds on the lead skiers to this point on this lap.
47 seconds between the top 18. We've got the leading group of 4 are just 3.5 seconds apart. Strelier now in no man's land at 8 seconds. Jakub Fak has dropped right down from 9 seconds to 29. So he's lost 20 seconds on this lap already. Ligrid, as Mike said, in 30 seconds back. Jacquemel of Italy in 8th at 38. And Jacquelin of France 39 seconds behind in 9th position. The winner surely coming from that leading group of 4, with Strelier a possibility should he shoot clear and the others all miss at least 2.
Johannes Tingesbo needs to be very clever. He is very clever, but he's worked hard now. He's gasping for air, and this is where he'll want to back it off again. He's got himself that psychological gain. He can build his position, but do you know, Patrick, I think he's going to go for that 20-second routine again from stop to start. It's a very dangerous routine, but he just had one bad movement there through his rifle to miss one target.
Yeah, he missed it very low, so he's on his own. You know, you've got to give him 10 out of 10 for trying, haven't you, Mike? Because so many athletes, even with his skiing ability, would just sit in the pack and come in fresh and capable of hitting the targets. He's made his decision. I have got to make everyone else hurt. One of the advantages of getting 7-8 seconds clear, Mike, is that he can slow down more than anyone else, and he's really eased off now.
He has. I just felt that he's really over his normal comfort zone, but getting his feeling back. And clearly those chasing are way are on or above their normal race comfort zone. So this is going to be a very interesting last 5 shots.
Yeah, he took the last leg for Norway in the relay. He won it, but he did not produce the perfect shoot on the last leg. And that is what he wanted. He was slightly frustrated by that. Number 4 missed last time. There's the first miss. He cannot afford another one if he wants to win here today. He's got 4 out of 5, so off he goes round the loop before anyone else gets a round away. If he is behind, it's only going to be by a couple of seconds. 3 out of 3 for Christiansen, who is going well, perhaps the fastest in that chase group, and it's 5 out of 5 for Christiansen. Samuelson again shows that he can't handle the pressure on the final shoot, and Strelier, with his first miss of the day, puts himself out of contention for the win, but a podium is still possible. So here comes Johannes Tingesbo, and he's got 29.35 on the clock for Christiansen. He's got 5.9 to make up, Mike, but he has worked harder than anyone else so far, and Christiansen shown himself to be the second strongest skier in the field.
What a race. Ligrid has got those 5 down, and he really has been suffering pace-wise, but again, he's taking himself up into the top 4 or 5. In fact,
Jacquemel, a disaster with 3 misses. Benny Doll with 2 misses. The German crowd not really enjoying this occasion. Strelier is out 31 behind. Jacquelin at 35. It's a Norway 1, 2, 3, 4. Incredible.
It is incredible. It's they've got the pace, they've got the good skis underfoot, and they've got the discipline. This hard training in the summer of intense training side by side, it really has paid off. Well, this is interesting. I thought Johannes would try and close the door quickly, close that gap down to Christiansen.
Well, his advantage so far, Mike, has been on the last 2 climbs. This is the 3rd last, so I think maybe he'll wait and explode on that last big climb and then come down level with Christiansen for the final. What we really want is a sprint finish into the stadium. Christiansen 3rd in the Mass Start standings last year. He won the Mass Start in Otterpa and then had a poor day in Oslo, finishing down in 6th, an event won by Sivert Bakken, who actually ended up being the Crystal Globe winner in the Mass Start last year.
And it's a real shame we haven't seen Bakken this season, not even at the IBU Cup, an athlete that is so good to win the overall Crystal Globe last year in this event. Is a high-class biathlete, but the strength and the depth of the Norwegians, quite incredible.
Yeah, as we're seeing again today, they have 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the men's mass start here. The last shoot completed. The gap between 1 and 2 is coming down, but it's coming down agonizingly slowly. It's really the uphills where Johannes Tingis, he's light, he's fast, he's got a phenomenal cardiovascular system. That is where he gains.
Yeah.
But, Mike, if he's going to win and he wants to be sure of winning, he has to open the gap up over Christensen. He cannot afford to come over the top of the last hill level.
Not at all. This part of the track, though, Patrick, it's so easy in terms of profile, and you know, he's a big, strong man, Christensen. He's huge, and it suits Christensen much better on the flats. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Johannes, as soon as we get to the hills, we'll break him.
8 wins already this season for the man in yellow, which is why he is in yellow. Christensen looking to close the gap down on Lygrid in second place in the World Cup standings. The scores of the top 3, 8.69 for Johannes Tingesbo, Lygrid on 7.25, Christensen on 4.28. He's 300 points behind second place. That is the margin, and that is the consistency that we've seen from Johannes Tingis and Sturla Holm Lygrid.
It is incredible, and just looking at the stats, this event does suit, of course it does, it suits the fast skiers. And if Johannes Tingesbo wins today, that'll be 12 wins in his career in this discipline, and it will be 64 victories. So a good percentage rate when there's only 4 mass starts a season.
Yeah, so that will be his 11th World Cup, plus, of course, the Olympic Games, which he won last year. And we had Oliana Bjorndalen won 14, Martin Fourcade won 14. That's another record that Johannes Tingis is closing down on. This is the crucial hill, Mike. Will Johannes Tingis try and get clear? Christensen's been saving himself because I think he knows what is coming. And here it comes on his left-hand side. Now we'll see an injection of pace. No real response from Christensen. He knows he cannot live with it this time round. Almost handing it to Johannes Tingesbo on a big, fat golden plate.
Oh, it's not giving it. I mean, no human being apart from this man can live with the legs burning to attack. That climb is horrible. And Johannes Tingesbo just putting a sprint pace up there. This is great for Johannes Tingesbo's big brother. I would love to see Tarjei Bo on the podium today again beside his brother. And Tarjei Bo, prior to this race, he'd only missed 2 targets out of 50 shots fired. And again, good shooting today.
Well, nothing between Bo and Lygrid. I think most people would have their money on Lygrid. Here comes number 12, Emilien Jacquelin of France. Strelier struggling now. It's been a good race. That one missed shot has cost him, Mike. The top 5 was there for the taking, but he's blown it with a miss on that final shoot. 25 going through. Justus Strello of Germany having a great race. That's really encouraging for him. But the fans disappointed that Doll and Kern are nowhere near the front.
And we must mention as well Seb Stolder from Switzerland. He's having a brilliant season. Only 2 targets missed, 8th position, and fighting hard.
Yeah, Hartweg, really the athlete we were watching out for, but he has gone and missed 3. He's a young Swiss athlete. He's got so much promise, but with 3 misses, he can't live with the top performance of Johannes Tingesbo. Not the perfect performance from Burmite. 2 misses, in fact 3 misses. He missed on the 1st, the 3rd and the 4th shoot, so he really gave the others an opportunity.
And you know, I don't have the stats to hand, but in the history of this event, very few athletes have won this event, missing 3 targets. So the ski form, the strength on the tracks, that part of biathlon is at an extremely high level also for Johannes Tingesbo.
But the penalty in the mass start for a miss is less than any other. It stands at 1%. A 1,500 metre course and a course, or a 15,000 metre course I should say, and a 150 metre penalty for a miss. So it's 1% exactly, which is less than any of the other events, and therefore it suits those who can ski fast. And no one skis faster than Johannes Tingesbo.
Look at the leaves blowing over as Johannes comes in, and just behind Lygrid has gone ahead of Johannes Tingesbo's older brother, Tarjei Bo, in 4th at the moment.
Well, in the end, it looks like an easy victory, but he did it the hard way. The tactics in the end, Mike, turned out absolutely right to get win number 9 of the season. Open up a 7-8 second gap, shoot fast, and if you have to pay a penalty, you're still going to be in contact with the leaders.
And Christensen, he really did well there to live with the early pace. And behind them, it's Lygrid still ahead of Tariabo.
Yeah, Lygrid number 2. Tariabo is not giving up as yet, but the younger man, I think, has more of the fast twitch fibers. Lygrid's going to hold on here for the podium. Tariabo misses out on this occasion. Both brothers, of course, on the podium in Pachuca on a number of occasions. They've had a very, very good season, and that probably more important for Tariabo, Mike. A top 4 in the mass start. Surely that means he's going to be on the bus to Oberhof.
I think so. He's really come good after the Christmas break with his shooting, and that's a great result from Strolia from Lithuania, only missing one target like Tariabo.
Jacquelin will be delighted, 12th in the World Cup standings. Jacquelin, he had a couple of podiums earlier on in the season, Kontiolahti and Hogfilson, but nice to see that he's coming back to form. Here we go for the minor places. Timothy Lapshin, who featured early on, just being out-sprinted by Fabien Claude of France, who was right in the running in the early stage, led the second lap, but 3 misses costing him. Ada, Fack, and then Nellin of Sweden just coming across the line, 127. Benny Dole, very disappointing from Benny Dole considering his individual performance on the first day of this meet.
5 penalties today, that's a world of pain for Benny Dole. And Fio Maé missing 4 in 16th place, not doing his World Cup total score any good at all.
The red bib of Dale coming in 18th, couldn't match his performance in Le Grand Bonnard, where he won the mass start. 4 misses. Rastoguyev 4, Jacamel 5 misses. That's a huge, huge distance added.
Do you know, I think, Patrick, we normally see a perfect shoot. We haven't today, and I think it was the intensity of this race. Johannes Tingesbo putting that blast of power into the first lap. It's hurt absolutely everybody. It hurt himself as well, but he can ski his way out of trouble. The rest can't.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons we saw evidence of it just as Johannes Tingis came in with the leaves blowing around, the wind was a little bit changeable, but also the pressure that Johannes Tingis put on the whole field by changing the pace, mixing it up, consistently going very, very hard on the 2 climbs before the shoot. I think that cost everyone today. His tactics paid off. Bo wins, Christiansen 2nd, Lygrid 3rd, and Tariabo in 4. Norway 1, 2, 3 and 4. Wow, it's almost as exhausting to commentators to race.
I was feeling the same. It's interesting. I was just thinking there, when regularly now in biathlon, we're seeing 4 athletes or 6 athletes from the same flag in the top 10. It's becoming very much like cross-country skiing this season, where